You are listening to the Savage FINcast, episode 42. Everyone eats at Oscars.
Chicago. A criminal mastermind called Overlord held our city in his terrifying grip. Ordinary cops were losing the battle against Overlord's super freaks and mutants. Then, a miracle happened. When I found him, he had no memory of his past. I helped him find an identity and a life. Now we have a fighting chance. Now we have the dragon.
This is the Savage FINcast, the show that will never turn heel. I am Jim Purcell.
I'm Craig Olson.
And this is Nick Justus.
Whoa!
What?
Nick Justus, what are you doing here?
I don't even know.
Where did you come from?
My dad met my mom.
And
For those
3 years and 9 months, dude.
3 years and 9 months. For those who don't know, Nick Justus was the one who helped me and Craig kickstart this whole crazy Savage Dragon podcast idea way back in our original episode 0 pilot.
Oh, wow.
And please don't anyone listen to that, just based on the sound quality alone.
I was using the absolute worst mic you could even imagine.
I seriously, like about an hour ago, went back and just out of curiosity listened to it, and it just sounds like we're all in one trash can talking.
Well, I should still sound the same in that trash can because I'm using the same Mac.
Well, then you probably were the one that sounded good. And
Yeah.
No, I think I was using like the microphone from my laptop. Had no idea that like a decent microphone
Mine was some
made any difference.
Mine was some thumb-sized clip-on one. It was
What?
with like one little tiny hole for the voice. It was not a good mic.
Like a newscaster, like a weatherman,
Yeah, but
meteorologist.
not that good.
Oh.
No,
So as you guys can hear, Raven is again not with us this week, and again he thinks he will be with us for the next FINcast. So
he said that last FINcast, so
yeah.
we'll see how that goes. He's got a lot going on right now.
Yeah, he's from West Virginia, right?
You know, I have no idea. I believe he
think
lived
so.
in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
He was in Pittsburgh, I think, then it's West Virginia or somewhere, and maybe back to Pittsburgh. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's got an interesting voice. People say I do, but he's got an inflection in his voice that I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun to listen to. He's got a wicked sense of humor too, and he brings
bromance or anything, but you know.
Yeah, we miss him too. It's
Well,
all right.
as fellow comic creators, I'm sure you share a bond that me and Craig will never.
Speaking of, I mean, Nick, a lot of people don't know you unless they were on the boards of Erik Larsen's forum or listened to the first FINcast. You want to kind of catch us up to speed on what you've been up to? I mean, we know you as an artist for the Jesus E. Lee series, but I know you've had some other books in the pipeline. What's going on with you?
Been a Erik fan from the get-go. Always click at his work. Came to Jersey to the Kubert School in 2008. Graduated in 2011. Did a few biography comics. Did 4 issues of creator-owned book Jesus E. Lee with a buddy, John Carroll. Working on a couple other little things now. Just self-published a comic called Mantasy. Mantasy.
It's like a bunch of short stories, right?
A bunch of shorts with John Carroll once again. Working on something with Anthony Marquez, who was a fellow Kubert School buddy. He was an assistant editor at DC for a while. He teaches at the Kubert School. Working on something else with a buddy, C.W. Cook at Devil's Due currently.
Devil's Due?
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
They still exist?
Yeah.
I have not been paying any attention to Devil's Due in years.
They merged with First Comics or something recently, and yeah. So I'm like
Cool.
slowly but surely like putting my big toe back in the water of comics and getting little odd jobs here and there, and it feels good. And to get the invite to come and be on the podcast again was really cool.
Well, you know, the door is open anytime. Like I say, you were the original, so you know, we enjoy talking with you. If people want to check out your stuff, where can they go?
Currently, go to comicfleamarket.com to check out the individual issues or the trade paperbacks of Jesus E. Lee, or go to Indie Planet to order copies of Fantasy, and that just posted this week. Cool. So I'm going to order a bunch of copies of that and do little signings at my local comic shops soon.
And people can get that digitally too, right?
Yep, digital download is the affordable route. That's only like 99 cents. Because they'll charge an arm and a leg for a print copy and shipping and handling. So I don't blame you if you want to go the digital route.
Jim's a digital guy, right?
Yeah.
I sure am. At least I got you to see the light. Still working on shit. What's his name? I'm a bad fan. Copra.
Oh, Michelle Fife.
Yeah, Michelle Fife.
So,
okay, that's how you pronounce it. Good.
Yeah, we only know because he was on the show. We love him to bits, but tough name. A lot of people I find there's a lot of like Savage Dragon fans like worldwide, or at least the ones that are like fanatics, if you want to call them, and a lot of them have crazy names, and just like the people that wrote in letters today, like we'll see. It's tough, man.
Fanatics.
Yeah. So why don't we get into the news?
Yes, we actually have news this episode. Not much, but we got two little bits, and I think you may find them interesting. First one, we knew about a while back. We probably should have mentioned it, although I think we may have talked about it actually, I think we talked with Erik during the interview. But Savage Dragon 206, which is the latest issue that we're going to be talking about later, has a variant cover, which is exclusive to Oscar's restaurant in Berkeley, California. This is, of course, the restaurant where when Erik would drop his son off at school once a week, he would, in the East Bay, he would go to this restaurant and work on the comic in the restaurant. And, of course, it's a hamburger joint. And he would basically work there drawing his comic, and the owner was cool with it. So Erik said over at comicbook.com that after I found out that Oscar's was going to close, the owner asked me about doing a drawing for him of Oscar's as a memento, and I came up with the crazy idea of having that drawing be an actual comic book cover and doing a variant exclusively for his hamburger joint. He was up for it, and off we went. Essentially, he had nothing to lose. Any unsold copies would be returned to me, and I could take them to conventions. And if he sold them all off, well, that would be fine. So it was a win-win. So, yeah, basically he made this comic cover, this variant cover, specifically to sell at this restaurant, which will be closing down soon.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, actually, because when you think about it, this variant could well be one of the harder ones to get a hold of because it's not available for ordering through Diamond or anything. Only Erik will have any spare copies, and only if there are any.
And that'll more than likely be a con.
Yeah, con exclusives.
Yeah, I wonder how many are printed in total. I don't know if he ever said.
I wonder if Gavin's trying to figure out how to fly to Berkeley.
You don't think that he would get one?
Oh, I'm sure he knows how to get one.
So our second piece of news, Erik, just about 2 hours from this recording, had posted up the cover to Savage Dragon 210, which there's no solicitation description yet, but the cover shows Malcolm and Maxine on some island with a bunch of tiki-looking creatures ready to pounce on them. Maxine's got a strategically placed map over her torso, so you can't really tell if she's pregnant or not. So that's one thing I noticed. Because we do know in 209 we saw the cover to that, and it's isn't that Malcolm and Maxine getting married, and she's got the big pregnant belly?
Right. That's a good point.
So I wonder if this is their honeymoon. I'm assuming.
That seems logical.
So
I have to say that this is probably my favorite Savage Dragon cover in a while.
Really?
Oh yeah, there's a lot going on in this cover that I really like. First of all, it's a gag cover. It's funny because Maxine's saying we're lost while looking at a map on an uncharted island with monsters surrounding them.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny to me. I am an easy pleaser when it comes to funny gags like that.
I feel like. Go ahead.
I also think that just design-wise, all these tiki creatures all are really cool to look at, and I think there's just a lot of like really good like detail in like the shading and the water effects and that stuff.
Very Kirby-ish.
Yes.
Yeah, I although I feel like this has kind of been done.
Has it?
Back in the day, and I don't know, maybe Nick, you can back me up. I can't remember the issue number, but
I was gonna say the same thing. I got if he's not paying homage to himself with the art or the composition, it just looks so retro throwback, and maybe that's the Kirby influence. Well,
there was a time where he fought like a big tiki-ish type monster with like I forget the name of the character that guest starred. It was some wacky character. It was when Dragon was on vacation.
You're talking about back when he teamed up with Invincible was there, and not Mr.
Fire Breather.
Yeah, Fire Breather.
And then that weird red dude. What was his name?
Destruction to something. He was. I don't know what the deal with that character was. He was an interesting addition, but the character itself never seemed to appear anywhere else. That's a good point. I forgot they fought a big tiki monster.
What issue was that? It's gonna kill me.
I know which one it is. I'll dig it up.
How big? That was a big tiki monster, though. That was a big.
Oh yeah. I'm just saying that cover kind of reminds me of.
I was just trying to remember how large that tiki monster was compared to the ones on this cover.
107.
Yeah, 107.
And that was
Major Damage.
Major Damage.
Which I don't even know who the heck he is.
Yeah, he's a creator-owned character of somebody's. And that was a cool comic because it was a flip book with Major Damage on the back.
Yeah. And it was the same, like Dragon in his shorts, like they're by the water. It wasn't quite an island or anything like that, but definitely brought that back. The same
shorts. Now it's even more funny to me.
Malcolm and Maxine just hanging out, making some burgers and dogs on the beach, and this happens.
Freaking tiki monsters, always ruining a good time. I feel like the tiki monster, and I apologize to the people listening, you're gonna have to go to Facebook and look up Erik's profile to see it, or maybe I'll try to post it on Twitter or something like that. But again, Savage Dragon 210 is what you want to look for. I feel like one of those tiki monsters on the cover looked like one of the gods too, like the top left.
The top left one?
Yeah, like he was in he showed up when the gods showed up at some point.
Maybe. I don't recognize him.
Yeah. Oh well. Anyway, so that's the news. Nothing crazy really going on, but Erik really seems to be pumping out the issues.
Certainly seems to be trying.
So I can't complain about that. So why don't we get into our FINteresting conversation segment?
Okay.
So this is the segment where we pose a selected listener question related to Erik Larsen or Savage Dragon to the group and have a roundtable discussion about it. Or if nobody loves us and sends in a question, we'll come up with our own and have a roundtable discussion. We really don't care, okay?
Damn.
So I really do care. Inside I'm crying. The question I am going to pose to the group is, name a character from the Savage Dragon series whose fate you would have changed if you could, and kind of tell us what you would do.
Nick, you're our guest. You go first.
Was it issue 122? It was a hiatus for a while, and Erik came back with issue 122, I believe.
Maybe. That sounds right.
Sounds about right.
And I don't remember how many issues exactly it was after that, but it was When we found out Jennifer Dragon had died.
Okay.
Yes.
And it was a very poignant story. It was actually one of the few comics that I've ever read that made me cry a little.
Oh my God, we found one of the elusive Jennifer fans.
I don't really know how much of a Jennifer fan I was, actually. I wasn't a huge Jennifer fan. It was just the admission of that angel.
Yeah.
Of how she had committed, what's the term, matricide?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. There was an issue of The Goon not too long ago that made me cry as well. I don't know. It's certain comics like that and Cyberface. I want Cyberface back.
We just found that Nick Justus is a very sensitive soul.
So,
yeah, I had that same thing, and damn you, Jim, for letting the new guy go first. But to me, I felt the same way, but in a different, on a flip side to that, I didn't like the way that she was put out to pasture.
Yeah.
Like it seems like Nick were more like you were kind of sad because the character. I was kind of more pissed off that the death was like off panel and for such a major character that it just seemed like she didn't get her due, like, and I'm still to this day like questioning, is she really dead? Because I just feel like it would have been something shown on the panel, and it just seems something so heinous for Angel to do.
Right.
I still can't wrap my head around that, and it kind of bothers me.
See, I'm of the opinion, I like the fact that, first of all, that it happened, how it happened, and sort of how it was shown to us, more alluded to than shown, because I thought that was like is a really unusual way to do it. Whereas Erik could have shown brainwashed Angel just shooting her and stashing the body. I mean, or we could have been left wondering this whole time. And I think that's sort of I think that was kind of a what's the word I'm looking for? A creative departure from what you would expect. And I think that's sort of why Erik's so good at this, is that he always defies your expectations.
I get it. Just seems way too heavy for me. Like, first of all, Mr. Glum's kind of an evil character, but it just seems way too heavy for, his mind control to have Angel kill her own mother. It just, I don't know, like, part of me still wants to believe that that's just a fake story and, she's going to pop up. Even though I'm not a huge fan of Jennifer Murphy at all, it's just, I guess, more of being an Angel fan.
See, my big problem with that story arc was there was a scene where when Dragon was trying to find Jennifer, where he opens a door, looks surprised, and it suddenly cuts to like this completely different scene, and we never see what he was surprised about.
Yeah, that was the part of the Future Shock. Free comic book day.
Yeah, that you see him surprised, and it cuts to those Future Shock pages, and like it's eventually alluded to that why he's so shocked is that there was absolutely nothing of interest. I thought that was like...
Was that it?
It was something like that. It was like he was surprised that there was like no sign of her. And that's what we were eventually told. I don't know, it was a while back. I haven't read it. All I know is that there was no real like he didn't open the door and like see her all entrails dribbling down the walls or something to like really be shocked about.
Yeah. So what was yours, Jim?
I'm going to be honest, I got two.
Okay.
One of them's kind of silly and the other one is kind of serious. One, I wish All God wasn't killed by jets.
Ooh, yeah.
I wish he was killed by something else.
Yeah.
Two, I wish he hadn't killed Loblo.
Yeah.
Because I like Loblo.
So which one's the silly one?
That's the question, isn't it? Honestly,
I feel the same way about Mako too. I wish.
Oh no, I thought he got as good of a send off as a character possibly can.
I agree with you there, but part of me didn't want him to go. I feel like he was Dragon's kind of coolest villain in terms of everything that he's been through in the book and the development that character had to being a bad guy to a good guy to a bad guy. And
I was thinking of the way he had basically chomped off the original Dart's head.
Right.
Yeah.
I was going to say dart, but I was like,
Well,
no.
he punched her head.
That's
Right.
right. That's right.
It was a paff.
That's right.
The sound effect was awesome with a little eyeball flying around.
That's right.
Paff.
Oh,
But yeah,
Punched in the
I don't know. I thought that was perfect. Just his arc, just the way his arc ended. I thought that was fairly poignant to the character. And then the fact of the matter is, by that point, Dragon was no longer, superhuman.
sure.
So, being Dragon's number 2 antagonist, I mean, it's disproportionate. So, getting rid of Mako at that point made sense thematically because he wasn't really Malcolm's adversary.
Right, that makes sense. Well, part of me hopes then that he impregnated a bunch of Mer women and there are a bunch of Mako kids running Atlantis or something.
I'm hoping that Abner Cadaver stitches his 2 halves together with his magic thread. That's what I'm shooting for.
I'm hoping that Erik listens to this and says, hey, that's a good idea. Let me. That would be cool.
Yeah. So good. That's that, and we're not giving away any darn prizes that.
Yeah, you don't get prizes if you don't write in, guys.
How about this for a prize? Let me draw somebody a pinup or something.
Okay.
Just throwing it out there. I'm an artist. I'm a Dragon fan.
That sounds good.
A fan request.
Cool. So the next person that sends us a cool question and we pick it. I guess it depends on how many people send a question in. We'll.
How about this? Send us a question and a pinup request, and if we choose you, you get your pinup request.
What do you think about that?
But you got to send both.
That's right. From this guy right here, Nick Justus.
Sweet. All right.
And how about Raven color the pinup?
Without Raven being here, we shouldn't put him too much on the spot.
That's true.
He's already making T-shirts at some point in the future.
That's right. Well, I'll find somebody to color it if they want it.
All right. Well, remember, send your questions and opinions to savagefincast@gmail.com. Again, if your entry is selected as the question of the month, you'll win, as we just said, a pinup by Nick Justus. And also, we'll still get you that Malcolm T-shirt from Raven when he gets around to sending those out. One of a kind, which are only going to be out for this year, so there'll only be 12 of them given away. Or less. Unless, yeah, because we didn't have anyone write in today.
Maximum of 12.
Also, make sure, not make sure, but send us your comments. What do you like about the podcast? What would you like to see more of? Or
Tell me
just
how
general?
handsome I am.
Yeah, you are quite handsome.
You can tell through the Skype window with that.
I can tell by your voice. It's just a real handsome voice. So with that, let me read a couple of listener emails that we got. First one is from, and I'm going to butcher his name, and he told me so it's okay. Soterus Gravis.
I'm going to call you a Solaris Gravity.
Solaris Gravity.
In Vino Veritas.
In Wine Truth, is that what that is? So he says, FINcast crew. And now, I'm going to read this, but I'm not the most educated guy. So, honestly, this guy's email sounds like it was written by Vince Vaughn's character from the latest True Detective series. But
much bombast.
Guys, your risible, rip-roaring roundtable discussion on whether or not Fountainhead shoots out energy blasts versus water certainly had my eyes tearing up. Attached to this email is the cover to Action Comics 464, showcasing the villain Pile Driver, who, though similar to Fountainhead, emits a force field pulse a la Maxine's newfangled force field wristwatch. Oh. I thoroughly enjoyed the camaraderie. What? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me read that again. Attached to this email is the cover of Action Comics 464, showcasing the villain Pile Driver, who, though similar to Fountainhead, emits a force field pulse a la Maxine's newfangled force field watch. I thoroughly enjoy the camaraderie and good-natured humor of your convivial chats. Also, the dulcet tones of your pleasant speaking voices lulls me into a state of apoplectic tranquility, which is always a good thing. In keeping with the plethora of hyphenated words found throughout this minuscule missive, I'll take my leave of you fine gents with one parting word. Goodbye. Sordus Gravis.
Eloquent.
Ugh. I'm sweating after reading that paragraph.
The dulcet tones of your pleasant speaking voices.
Man, you should have just read that. Why did I read that? But wait, he says, your pleasant speaking voice lulls me in a state of apoplectic tranquility.
Yeah, like
isn't that?
So we put him into a diabetic coma? What?
No, isn't that mean like isn't that like
Epileptic?
Yeah, isn't that like an anger or like?
No. Let's see what the old internet has to say.
Jesus Christ.
Overcome with anger, extremely. Ooh.
Yeah, like what the hell?
Yeah, it is anger.
You trying to sound all smart and?
Yeah, I think you used the wrong word. How do you get angry? How do you get angry tranquility?
Well, anyway, that's okay. So, 464 for the cover for the listeners out there who obviously won't, you'll have to look it up online. But that pile driver character is kind of a funny looking dude. He's got kind of looks like just a giant penis head.
That's
shooting some kind of weird force field goo out of his head.
Hey. Old penis head.
So, yeah. I'm still amazed that you guys didn't know that Fountainhead was shooting water out of his...
I thought he was like Ayn Rand related. I thought he was like a libertarian. I thought...
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, shall we move on, or do you guys want to add anything to that?
Thanks for the letter there.
And
all
thanks for
those
listening.
Hyphens. I think you may have overused your allotment.
Definitely gave me a headache reading it because I'm not so smart. But anyway.
Yeah,
So he gets a Raven t-shirt?
What's that?
He gets a Raven t-shirt, right?
No.
No.
Fan mail does not get t-shirts.
Oh.
Only appreciation.
Oh, okay.
But we greatly appreciate it.
We do. T-shirts are for earners.
Jesus. Guys, just stop listening to us. I can hear the button on his iPod clicking. Do people even listen to iPods anymore? No, right? You have to have an iPhone.
Well, iPhones are basically fancy iPods, so.
Really? No, I'm just kidding.
So we did.
Right,
we got very late under the wire. We got another letter from Andrew D'Entremont.
You want to read that one?
Yeah. Andrew writes, "Hey, Savage FINcasters. I just finished catching up on your last couple of episodes and wanted to make one small comment. In your latest episode, you were both commenting that it was just Dragon and Lorella repopulating their race, and you both wondered how that would work with the lack of genetic diversity. You may not have caught it, but in your interview with Erik, he mentioned that there was some genetic tinkering going on to ensure that there were no problems with interbreeding. Interesting. I actually did not remember that from our interview, but it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that doesn't answer my bigger question is how is she paying for all of this, but maybe we'll find that part out someday. Andrew continues.
It's on welfare.
Yeah, they're on the system. Andrew continues. On a completely different topic, I am a relative newcomer to the FINcast, having only started around episode 32. So I have decided to start listening to all your old casts. Starting with your first episode this morning. It was strange not getting the usual intro, and the audio quality was noticeably inferior to what it is now. Everything is perfectly understandable. It just doesn't sound as good as your more recent episodes. What kind of setup do you guys use for recording the cast? Thanks, and if you happen to read this on the air, and if you happen to read this on the air in the future cast, good luck pronouncing my last name. I tried. Well, I'll tell you there, Andrew. And that is original first episode 0, which coincidentally Nick was involved with. We basically did as we do now, wing it.
We were young bucks.
Wing it hard. Basically what we did, of course, just a quick description of how we do this. None of us are face to face. We are not in the same room. through the magic of technology and a little program called Skype, which you may have heard of, we all get together in the Skype chat, and we basically just talk into microphones and hope that when one person speaks, the other one doesn't speak at the same time.
Ooh.
Well, we also use CallGraph.
Well,
a lot of times we record our separate lines,
Correct.
We've upgraded our microphones.
Well, yeah. Well, specifically, CallGraph is another program which is used in conjunction with Skype that allows us to record our spoken dialogue, our Skype chat, and then basically they all email the files to me, which I can then cut together to slightly improve our audio quality. Because if you record on your end, you get a slightly better recording than recording the person having to come through Skype, through whatever system they use. It gets slightly downgraded. But then I use a program called Audacity, which is a free audio editing program to cut it all together. Sometimes we record episodes out of order, so I use that program to chop it all up and then reassemble it. And then I use that to export to an MP3 file, which then I put on the website, which a friend of mine, Erik Schoburn, graciously allows us to host on. And that's how we get the episode to you.
So basically, you're a wizard.
Basically, I'm a wizard, but mostly I'm a gutter wizard because I basically make it up as I go along. I'm using the same techniques I used on episode 1 today. Because I honestly, to do better, we would need money, and we don't have any money.
But it sounds good regardless.
Well, that's good to hear. Have you been keeping up with the FINcast?
I do listen. I sit down at the drawing table and put it on in the background and have a laugh. Listen to it a couple of times to,
A couple of times.
If I miss something, I'll catch it the second time. Yep.
This guy must be pulling our leg here.
Ooh.
I have a hard enough time re-listening to it to edit together. And I spoke the damn thing.
Well, though, honestly, we've been doing this almost 4 years now, and
almost.
We started as complete strangers to each other, and you just kind of learn how to make it, go a little smoother, and, we learn little tricks here and there, and definitely, like I said, I went back and listened to the first episode, and from where we're then to now, it's leaps and bounds. I couldn't listen to a podcast that sounded like what ours sounded like from issue 0 just because of the quality. It's hard to listen to now, but you got to start somewhere, and I think we've done a good job of making them regular, monthly, and there is definitely a lot of time put into putting together an agenda and talking about, thinking about what we're going to talk about and stuff like that.
Editing the episode itself can take twice as long as the episode length, because I have to listen to the episode while I, to clean up any like pops or clicks or like long periods of dead time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it could take like almost twice as much time as it is to listen to it to edit it, just because you have to listen to the whole thing to make sure it sounds right.
Oh, and there's a lot of times where we have to cut out because we just stumble or something like that. And
you don't even know the number of times I mess up the intros every episode. Maybe I'll even leave these ones in just to illustrate.
Don't do that.
I'll put them in at the end.
There you go. Guys, the gag reel.
As long as you guys are comfortable knowing that you've come full circle having me back on the show, and it's going to sound as bad as episode 0.
Nah.
There you go.
No, but and not to get all sappy, but it's been almost 4 years, and doing this is a labor of love. Of course, we don't make any money on doing this, but we all love to talk about Savage Dragon, and let's face it, it's not like it's selling, it's not like you go in your comic book shop and it's selling 100 issues and you can talk to it with everybody in your shop. It's a lot of times the only chance we get to talk about this is on the podcast with people or meeting different people or different artists, and it's been really cool to talk and have that reason to talk to a lot of these artists and share some of these stories. So we've made quite a bit of friendships through this, and
whatever tenuous excuse we can come up with to talk to these people.
Do you
like
Didn't you
Savage
letter
Dragon?
an issue?
Yeah.
How many episodes have you guys had Erik on now?
Oh, 5 or 6 now, maybe
Okay.
10.
It's
I've
got to be
actually
more
lost
than
count.
that. It's got to be more. I gotta think it's got to be like 7 or 8 or more.
Yeah.
He said that he would come on almost every time we interview him. He's like, anytime, I'll talk. And it's like, I would love that, but I would feel like if we tried to get him on every time, it would we'd run out of questions. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's hard to do it every time and keep it interesting.
Right.
I think it makes it special when we kind of space him out,
Yeah, give him a period to put out a few issues and have more stuff to talk about.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
but-
my thought on the matter, anyway.
I mean, how lucky are we though that at least for me, he's my favorite comic book creator, and to have access like that, it's like, I'm too young to have witnessed like Kirby's stuff when it came out, but I can just imagine, there was this group of people that had pretty good access to Kirby, those kids, and were able to kind of talk to him and pick his brain, and it's kind of cool that Larsen's kind of like my Jack Kirby, and to have that kind of access to just chat with him is pretty special.
Did you meet any famous comic creators when you were going to school?
Oh, Joe Kubert,
He's famous.
Adam and Andy, both.
Did they do like guest lectures or something?
Oh no, they actually teach there.
Oh, that's cool.
You think comics pay the bills? Ha ha!
And Kim DeMolder, who is a longtime inker in comics, inked a lot of Steve Bissett, and even inked John Byrne and and others.
Awesome. Cool.
And others that just Tom Mandrake, and now his wife Jan Jusima. They instruct there now.
That's really cool. Did anyone in your class kind of break it into the big two or anything like that afterwards, or an Image?
There's a few. Craig Cermak, he works on a book. He worked initially on Voltron, some Voltron comics right out of school.
Right.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And now Red Team, he's currently working on.
Okay. Yeah.
Red Team. What's Red Team?
It's an espionage thriller type.
It's an Image book, right? Or
no, it's I can't even think of it's either Boom or Dynamite. I get those two mixed up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do too.
Let's see, who else? Tim Yates and Gavin Smith. They both work with Blue Juice Comics, an indie publisher.
Okay.
Gavin draws the Accelerators, and Tim Yates does a book called Anne Bonny. And there's some others that just aren't coming to me. You'll have to edit all this out because I'm just...
They're going to be pissed at you. You didn't add me.
It looks like Red Team is written by Garth and Enos.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Covers by... I'm blanking on him. Shoot. Chakin.
Howard Shakin?
Yeah, him. He does the covers, apparently.
Right.
Sweet.
That's a pretty high-profile book. It's from Dynamite.
Yep. And a lot of these guys did Jesus E. Lee pinups for me back in the day, so...
Nice.
We all still keep in contact on the Facebooks and stuff, which is cool.
Very cool.
They're leaving me in the dust, so I'm trying to catch up.
You'll get there. So should we talk about what we're here to talk about?
Yeah, we were talking about letters,
episode?
weren't we? Thanks for sending your letters, guys. We do appreciate the fan mail. Always.
So let's jump into the meat of it.
Yeah, let's talk about 206.
Graduating Clash.
It's pretty good fun.
What was your overall opinion of this issue? Either of you?
It was quick. Fight, conversation, fight.
Yeah.
And
It wasn't my favorite issue. Let's put it that way. I think. Obviously we know it was. This is the one that had the Oscars variant, the burger joint. So there's like 6 pages kind of set in the Oscars burger joint. which is it was a little silly. I guess it's kind of a gimmick.
Yeah. You definitely get those first opening pages are definitely just kind of there for the Oscars sort of tie-in.
Yeah.
Because you get the Oscars restaurant, and you see the cooks in their Oscars shirts. And of course then it kind of ties into the restaurant closing because at the end they destroy the restaurant.
Yep.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I know on the back of the owners of Oscar shirts, it's what does it say, blazing in Berkeley, and obviously this is supposed to be set in Chicago. I think Erik addressed that on Facebook or Twitter where he was like, I don't really care.
No. They specifically say in this scene that they are in Berkeley to talk to Malcolm's comic book publisher.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because he had to go tell him about his most recent adventures. They can spin it into comic book form.
Oh, okay. I missed that.
So
the funny thing is, Maxine's what about us? What are we supposed to do? Where are we supposed to go? And it's well, it's not in Chicago. I don't know. It's just funny. He was just don't think about it too hard, basically.
Yeah. She likes the place a lot when she's not from there.
Yeah. Creature was pretty cool looking. He's got those awesome, weird, eyeless Erik Larsen trademark kind of
lip eyes.
Yeah, pucker eyes.
I gotta say, typically it's a decent fight scene, some good choreography fights, but ultimately this fight feels kind of throwaway. It doesn't really seem to lead to anything or be anything.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds the mutant. That guy was someone that was transformed when they, it's some scientist guy that was using a transporter or something.
Yeah,
a la Fly or something like that. I guess it's just kind of weird and silly.
Should have been a mutant pile of hamburger meat. That I could have tied into Oscars.
This is weird. It makes you wonder if this is ever, that guy they're talking to that was actually getting chased by the monster is gonna tie into this book somehow.
Maybe.
I doubt it, but just weird. It's okay. It is what it is. I wish it didn't take up 6 pages of the book. It reminds me of when Erik did the
comic shop.
Yeah.
I was just looking at that cover on the SavageDragon.com when we were talking about the covers. Because I was going to bring it up because the Oscars cover isn't. He's done this before with the 5. Is it 5-color or flying colors?
Flying colors.
Flying colors comic shop. He did a similar thing there.
Right, and he had their mascot kind of.
Yeah.
In that. So I'm not a big fan of these. I mean, it's cool. I wish Erik would have maybe just stuck to the cover for the variant and really kind of either left it out of the story or just made it a page. But it is what it is. It's still a fun fight, but not my favorite. But yeah,
I really like this stuff with Angel and Frank at the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's really driving her character forward. Because she's sort of finding her way into his life, and his daughter. She's bonding with her. I think it's going to be a really interesting relationship going forward.
If something doesn't happen in Dimension X.
Oh yes, we got to get through the Dimension X adventure.
Yeah, which is we see further on in this issue. Malcolm talking to Rex, and he's still worried about Maxine being pregnant with his kid and worried for her safety. And Rex is the typical kind of scientist, kind of head up his ass, just thinking in terms of science and no compassion, but he's just more worried about Mr. Glum.
Which I'm excited for. I like that page a lot.
Yeah, and one of the things is that we learned that Mr. Glum is kind of shooting these giant monsters into our reality, I guess, or our dimension, I guess I should say. Which I didn't tie that into that giant ape creature until the second read through, which shows up at the end towards the middle of this book, this giant wolfman thing. But I guess that's one of the creatures that Glum's sending in. Was there any giant creatures in the previous issues that might be tied to Glum?
Not sure.
I couldn't think of any. I mean, I know there's a lot of weird new villains that are popping up, but they seem more like vicious circle goons than they seem like giant mutant monsters or anything like that.
I wonder if the Oscars guy, the monster at the beginning of the issue, if
he did mention it was a teleporter accident, but he turned into the monster. He isn't. Maybe he got replaced by the monster. I don't know.
Oh, that's right.
I don't think so, because the monster's like, keep out of this, punk. This isn't
that's
your
right.
fight.
Yeah, he's talking. So yeah.
I mean, the only thing I could think of is like some of those kind of villains that have been showing up in the past, like the remember that mutant Hulk thing with like the baby inside of it?
Maybe.
I don't know, but I don't think so. So I don't know.
But see,
I think it would have been cooler if there was more of a build-up where.
Right. Well, there you go. You could have used this opening scene to have one of those Glum monsters instead of having this teleporter accident sub-story.
Yeah. There's one page in this book, the next page after the Rex page. It makes me wonder if this was a leftover page from the
Last
previous issue. Yeah. Did you guys notice that? It's got the same
layout
panel layout as 205 with like the character on the left side and the rectangular panels on the right.
Yep.
It looks like almost like something that was like, cut off the drawing board there in 205 and found its way here. But
that old scumbag Willie Williams.
What do you think about this scene? I have a theory on this, and I wanted to see if you guys picked up on this. But what were your thoughts? Did you pick up on anything here, or
about what?
I'll tell you what I have, but I wanted to see if you guys picked up on anything.
You talking about the Craig and Willie scene?
Yeah.
I think what you're maybe talking to is how Willie's trying to like set Tierra up.
I think that laptop's bugged now. That he's giving, like, he just gives it back and he's like way too nice about it. I'm wondering if he's got that thing bugged or something so that he can keep tabs on what Malcolm's doing.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think he just doesn't want to get arrested.
I don't know.
For breaking and entering.
I feel like there's something more to it.
Goodwill will be right. I mean that he's definitely probably not above it.
Yeah. We'll see. Do you think this Craig character is going to become like a character in the book that's... I mean, we've seen him, twice now or 3 times?
Yeah, 3 times I want to say. No, twice. I think we saw him when Maxine moved in and here, actually.
Yeah.
I think the next time we see him, he'll probably get killed.
Dart just cuts his head off.
Right. Nah, I don't... You never know.
Yeah.
That's the fun of the book. You never know who's going to get whacked.
Definitely. So, I guess as we were talking, and one of the things that we skipped out on is this is setting up a Malcolm in Dimension X type thing with the way that he's talking to Rex, right? And we see in the next cover, was it 207 and 208, he's definitely fighting Glum. You guys have any predictions on how that's going to go?
Probably not well.
Yeah, I think do you think one of the angels might not survive?
That's what I'm thinking.
Because we got 2 of them and we don't need it.
Right.
I hope they both survive, but I got 2 pet theories.
Go for it. Let's see if you're right.
Pet theory 1. Somehow they are merged together, and now they have shared memories.
What?
Of both angels. So that she can be one character, but be both angels. For even more complicated Frank relationship shenanigans.
That's pretty good, Jim. I like that.
Second theory. Original Angel is killed. They bring Savage World Angel back, and so she has to try to slide into Original Angel's life. More shenanigans.
I think that's too complicated, and Erik would want to get away from that.
You know what? He probably does, which is unfortunate.
I see Evil Angel.
Make it more complex, damn it.
This is what I see. I see Glum about to kill our angel, the good angel, or Malcolm, and Evil Angel has a change of heart and gets in the way, and he kills her.
Ding, ding, ding.
It's got to be a tragic ending, like
No.
to like the one person Glum loves.
The boring third choice.
I'm probably wrong. I never ever ever get like anything right in terms of Savage Dragon, like guessing any kind of.
I don't know. I have a lot of attachment to Savage World Angel just because she was the primary angel for the majority of my time on the book.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my early years anyway. I loved her old cartoon ways and her giant mouth and her doll eyes, and becoming the sex slave of a interdimensional warlord.
I just see the one thing that Glum loves most is Angel, and I just see like something like kind of like what happened with Dart, where you know she gets in the way and he blames Malcolm or the other angel for her death, and he just goes berserk.
It would be a good way to set up more tension and more
for like future.
From Malcolm and or whoever survives to have that conflict with Glum.
Yeah.
More, not just, Malcolm's dad, but now there's even more of a reason.
Exactly.
For that feud.
We'll see.
Yes, we'll see. Yeah, because it's definitely happening next, right?
Yep. Yeah, 2 issues it sounds like, and then that
good.
Wraps that up.
I was hoping it would be more than 1 issue. I was afraid it was just a one and done, but good.
Yeah, definitely. So it looks like Frank's got a new set of wheels. That police salary helping him get that 57 Chevy or whatever it is.
I like that Erik is putting some time into drawing cars.
Yeah, he hates cars.
And
usually they look like 1970 like box cars.
Yeah, you can see it in the I don't know the page number, but you can see it driving past a bunch of box cars. For comparison.
That's awesome. So it's Malcolm's he's going to graduate, I guess. So I guess this issue is the last issue is Malcolm as a high school student.
Yep, I think that's the implication.
And we get this giant mauve-colored Wolfman, as Maxine eloquently states. And he beats the crap out of Malcolm and Angel for a little bit. And Angel lets Malcolm kind of go to his graduation. She stays and fights the Wolfman, which is kind of fun. Nothing really spectacular, though. One thing I'm kind of missing about the book, and we saw and I don't know if you guys may disagree or nothing, but for a while when Erik was doing like the twice up stuff, like I'm thinking issue 194 with the building falling on top of people, or 196 with when Malcolm's whipping those chains around and stuff. Those splashes like with the twice up. You really noticed a difference, and I'm not sure if it's Erik not doing twice up anymore.
Oh, he's definitely doing twice up. He told us that in the interview.
Yeah, I don't know, like if it's not on all the pages or I don't know. For a while in like those mid 190s, it was like he was firing all cylinders with some of these splash pages, and they were like super hyper detailed with like the twice up. And I'm like, this issue, I don't know, I don't get that, and I don't know if it's just me, but splashes just hasn't been as cool as like some of the ones in the 190s. I
don't know. The coloring on this big splash page is a little not really jiving with me, but otherwise it looks like he's got plenty of hair detail, a lot of background detail, action lines.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I just don't feel like it's got like the details like some of the past twice up type stuff he's put out.
Yeah, I don't know. I could definitely still see the twice up myself.
Mm-hmm.
I still see it in the inks. I still see it.
Yeah.
In the ink work, I can definitely tell because there's more little sketchy ink.
Yeah, like the little tiny lines and stuff like that. Yeah, get that. So Wolfman gets the crap beat out of him, right? And then the tide turns, and when Angel's left alone with him, he, I guess, is starting to beat her up. We don't see that. We see Malcolm graduate. It's good to see Thunderhead still kind of being like a supporting character. I really, really like that character, and I'm glad that we're kind of seeing him in every issue.
Yeah.
Question: is this the first time we see Lightning Punch back since his blood transfusion?
I
I want to say yes, but I can't remember.
don't know. I mean, I know he did it. He punched Fountainhead.
Fountainhead, right.
But was that in the Legacy issue? So does that not count in time?
Right, well, it was Fountainhead was Legacy, right? Yeah, that's in the future. We knew he had lightning powers back because of that. But he got his blood transfusion in 204. Yeah, 204. And I'm just flipping through real quick.
In 205.
I'm pretty sure this is the first time he's reused his lightning powers since his blood transfusion brought them back.
Gotcha. So he didn't punch the goon from the prom with a lightning punch or anything?
I do not believe so.
Oh,
No,
okay.
he did not.
Oh, there you go. It's back.
Lightning punch to the head. And another.
Yeah, I'm surprised nothing was said about it.
I like the way he has to announce lightning punch to the head every time he does it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he knows how that works. You got to.
So that's about it. I mean, he graduates. That monster comes back after beating on Angel a bit. He takes care of the monster with the lightning punch, and kind of last panel is Angel saying congratulations, welcome to adulthood, because it's the last day of high school. So now we'll see what comes next. And in the book, he said, I think Frank was talking to him in the car scene, was like, aren't you going to join the Force? But I think that's going to wait until
After
he gets into Dimension X.
Right.
So, what were your guys' overall thoughts of the issue? Jesus Christ, what was that?
Couldn't hit the mute button fast enough.
You all right?
No, I sneezed.
Oh.
Okay.
What were you guys' impression of this issue? Personally, I wasn't the biggest fan of this issue.
Yeah.
It was okay, not the greatest.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's just it didn't really do anything super exciting. It just kind of feels like a transitional issue from this to he had to graduate high school and now he's got to go to Dimension X.
Right. It was a setup issue for that
Yeah.
most part.
And of course, it also had the tie-in with the Oscars thing, kind of chewing up some pages.
Yeah,
so.
the Oscar thing chewed up a ton of pages.
Yeah.
But I think two important things in this issue is A, he's no longer a high school kid anymore, so now Erik can push him more into the full-time superhero.
Yep.
Or police officer or whatever. And B, it looks like we're gonna get the Glum kind of story wrapped up with Evil Angel, and I'm looking forward to that. So there's two positives. I mean, they all can't be the best issue.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's still better than most.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not better than most Savage Dragon comics.
Right.
But we did get 2 issues inside of a month.
That is true.
When's the last time that happened with Savage Dragon?
1990 something.
Really? Wow.
I have no idea.
I think it was with like the Savage World or something like that.
Yeah, maybe when he was hurt and he was playing catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other part of this book is the backup story, the Mighty Man backup story, which is part 2 of the Big Bang story, which was colored by our good friend Adam Pruitt and lettered, penciled by Darren Goodhart, inked by Mike Matthew, and the writer Terrence Gripe Jr., who I don't know. I don't know if you guys know who he is or if he's written anything else.
I wonder what Adam lettered, because if I recall, this is from way back in like the 90s or late 90s, early 2000s.
I think he might have re-lettered it. I have to look at my old.
Really?
I have to look at my old Big Bang issue. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Maybe he had to. Maybe the way it was lettered had to be redone.
I'm not sure.
I know he told me he was glad it finally saw print after at least a year.
Yeah, I think we talked last episode. I remember him posting like a teaser on like Instagram, and it was a long time ago. But it's cool. What do you guys think of the story here?
It reminds me of some good old Doctor Strange
Yep.
Shenanigans.
Definitely a lot of Doctor Strange in it. A lot of Jim Starlin in it. You must have read the first part. What did you think of the first part, Nick?
Let's see. I'm looking at it now. I'm looking at the second part. I love that splash page. The second page of the second.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I just read it before we started recording, so I have to read it again. And I'll have to go back and read the first one again as well. But I have read
Someone didn't do their homework. All right. No, I'm just kidding.
I did read it. It just takes a while for me.
It's one of those weird 70s like style comics that I don't know what the hell is going on half the time, but it's fun.
It's
like,
time travel.
It's time travel. It hurts my head. They're doing all sorts. The one thing that kind of made me laugh, and I don't know if you guys got this, if the listeners got this, or what. It's like they're fighting outside of space and time, right? In this like this continuum type thing. And then while they're battling, the guy, the evil guy, I don't know what his name is. I just call him the Magus or whatever. He teleports himself out into reality, right? And he gets hit by a bus.
Right.
Yeah.
How does Mighty Man get out of there?
What do you mean?
Out of this like void that he's in that's not in space or time.
Well, he's Mighty Man. He
just flew back home.
It's just that once his wristband thing broke, he got popped through time, and Mighty Man got returned to where he came from.
Oh, so they both. All right, I read that as he kind of just left, and Mighty Man's still chilling. I'm like, well, how the hell did he get out of there? So you're saying they both got?
Yeah, he was trying to escape, so he sent Mighty Man back where he found him, but his wrist was damaged, so he accidentally got sent to the 1990s and caused pretty much Ann Stevens becoming Mighty Man.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Did you pick up on that fact?
No, like at the end, I didn't pick up on I just thought, like I said, the old man escaped out of that kind of continuum,
right,
and left the original Mighty Man there. But
right.
But I get what you're saying now.
But you see how he lands in. He looks at his wrist device and he says he's homed in on the 1990 something and gets hit by the bus.
Yeah.
The bus is going to Hillman Hospital.
Right.
And that bus has got Billy Bierman on it, and so he doesn't get to his grandfather Bobby Bierman in time to get his Mighty Man powers. So they get transferred to Ann Stevens. So this whole story is basically how this future version of Mighty Man screws up and is responsible for the powers going to Ann Stevens in the first place.
Gotcha. Where did you get that Billy Bierman's on the bus?
Well, because that's always been the story, is that Bobby Bierman was Mighty Man.
Yeah, I remember that now. I got you.
In the Golden Age and the Silver Age.
Yeah.
He's dying, and Billy Bierman doesn't get to him in time before he dies.
Gotcha. And you see that the bus is going to the Hillman Hospital.
Yeah.
Maybe that's him in the next to last panel on that page behind the bus cover.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're right, because it's like, well, I mean, it's definitely inferred now that you say that. I'm so glad we have these talks, because that would have just went over my head.
Yeah, it's not some random bus. It's the bus.
Gotcha.
And whether or not this prevents that future that he comes from happening.
Comes full circle now.
Yeah.
Kind of like this episode.
Awesome. I actually, we got a theme going on here. Full circle. That's going to be the title, right? No, what you just pointed out there just made this story like 100 times better for me. Yeah. All right. Everything I said, throw out the window. I love the story. It was great. I understand everything now. I was too dense.
Yeah, it's time travel.
I told Adam that I liked his just the flat coloring.
Yeah.
No, nothing fancy about the coloring. No, very straightforward.
Yeah.
It's going for that like Bronze Age feel, I think, and
definitely
it works.
Yep.
It works. It's neat. I like these kind of backups. I like the style. I didn't understand the story as much until it was just explained to me, but good stuff.
It's good to have it. I enjoyed it. I don't
Right.
remember. I don't know if there's any more Mighty Mans from Big Bang, but I'd like
No,
to see
this
more
well,
of it.
the other Mighty Mans in Big Bang were in the like CC Beck, Captain Marvel kind of
Mhm.
uh, uh, style. So like real cartoony, and they were published previously in like Savage Dragon, I think 25 and 50,
Oh, okay.
which are also really really cool looking. Because the artist who did that, and I can't remember his name, but he's since passed away, but he aped CC Beck so well. It looks so cool. So anyway, and we get no funnies on this.
No funnies. Disappointing.
Yeah. So.
Wah, wah.
Yeah.
So kind of a brief issue. I mean, overall, just kind of like a morsel before the feast next issue.
Right. And it was just cool to get, like I said, that second issue inside of a month.
That's true. Yeah.
I was like, wow, I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah. I can't complain about that, honestly. We'll see how they keep rolling. Wasn't Erik in like Ireland or something like that?
Yeah, he's been in Ireland for the last
He
couple
said he
of
was
weeks.
in Ireland, then he was in Montreal, and then he went to go visit his son in college in Vermont. So, I think it was Adam or someone said that he wanted to hurry up and get this issue in the can so he could go travel. So that kind of sped things up. So I'm not sure when the next issue will come out, if that's still going to be on time or a little late or what.
Yeah.
So, Savage Dragon 207.
Well, do you have you should have the solicitation copy, right? Yep, here it is. Nick, do you want to take the honors?
Savage Dragon 207 solicitation. Malcolm Dragon, Battle Girl, and Rex Dexter go into Dimension X to rescue Angel Dragon and bring Mr. Glum to justice. Nick Justus.
Dude, you have like the best superhero name.
Thank you.
That influenced you to get into comics? You're like, damn,
I don't
should
know.
draw comics.
Probably when I was like a kid. I've heard it all my life, and I just laugh. I think it's funny.
Also a good wrestler name.
Yeah. What background is that for like Justice? Is that like just English or?
I believe Scottish.
Oh, Scottish.
It's just us. It's TUS.
Yes.
Yeah.
The spelling, I can't tell you. I'll have to delve into some family history and find out why the spelling changed. Probably some criminal aspect. I'm sure they have.
Scotland's greatest criminals, the Justices.
So 207.
207,
Looking forward to talking about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Nick, do you read comics at all?
Sometimes when I can squeeze it in.
Read anything interesting lately?
Let's see. Savage Dragon.
Uh-huh.
I also picked up. Maybe I shouldn't touch on this because I don't know if you guys have it yet, but Archives Volume 4.
What one?
Archives.
Savage Dragon Archives. Did that come out already?
It's
Is it
out.
on Amazon?
It should be, yeah.
I gotta catch up. I have 1 and 2. I never bought 3.
Yeah.
I gotta get that. I love looking at, and for the listeners, talking about the Savage Dragon Archives, which are like the essential kind of editions for Savage Dragon, the black and white.
I love them.
Yeah,
I love them
the
too.
line work.
Some people, especially some artists, either they don't like colored comics or they prefer their comics in color. I eat up the black and white. I just love to see that naked art before it's colored. I love colors, but something about the black and white.
And Savage Dragon's archives are the best because they are scanned line art. It's not like they took the color comics and grayscaled them.
I hate when they do that. That's
the
garbage.
worst. But doing it this way, it's like it's like completely worth double dipping on just to get it a completely different way.
Yeah, I agree.
I haven't gotten 3 or 4 myself either because again I'm digital only and they're $20 a piece and the price never goes down. So I've kind of been floating around waiting to pick them up whenever I can.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what about you, Jim?
Oh, been reading my weight in comics lately. I've just drowning in them, honestly. I read this really interesting not new comic. It's actually an old comic, but this new reprint of an old comic. Have either of you read From Hell?
No, I haven't. It's on my list of trades to read.
Yeah. Nick, what about you? Have you ever read Alan Moore's From Hell?
I have not.
All right, then that's actually won't click. The artist on From Hell is named Eddie Campbell.
I've seen his work though.
You have, yeah. Well, he did this independent series back in the '80s called Bacchus, and it's about the Greek god of wine and revelry, Bacchus. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong, but close enough. Basically, this is the story of it's the '80s, and these gods all they're still alive, and they are old and they are sick of living, or at least some of them are. And it's like Bacchus is like, he used to be like, of course, the god of wine and revelry. Now he's just like a grizzled old man who just likes to drink all the time, and only wine. But he's kind of got a rivalry with a guy named Joe Theseus, who is Theseus from the myth about the labyrinth and the Minotaur.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's been hanging around for thousands of years himself. He's the son of Poseidon, and he has a form of immortality where he gets to keep his youth, and basically he's become a mob boss. And he's Bacchus has got like he's got a problem with him, and he wants to kill him. So the whole story is like about Theseus trying to stay away from him, trying to escape. It's got this really, really interesting, gritty, independent style to it.
Who publishes it?
The reprints of it is being done by who is this? This is Top Shelf. All
right, cool.
Who I believe is a subsidiary of IDW now, but yeah, there's like 8 volumes of it, and I've read the first one, and it's actually broken up into 2 books. The first book is basically establishes Bacchus and Theseus' rivalry, and it goes to South America and has like this whole like plane crash thing, and then the book 2 is like all about Joe Theseus and him trying to reestablish himself as a mob boss, but things kind of don't work out. Interesting enough, the main character Bacchus doesn't appear almost at all in that book, which was an interesting little like twist to it. But it's got this really interesting style where there's like all this history of what happened to the gods, because many of them are dead. And it sort of piecemeal tells you what happened in the past, and like it also it almost reads like a modern myth, where it's like these legendary characters are still around and they still do not necessarily legendary things, but the things they do are like a Greek myth. Their lives are tragic.
Gotcha.
It's just a weird book, but it's also cool. It was excellent. I enjoyed it. I highly recommend it.
How many volumes are there?
Oh, there's like 8 volumes, and they're all like
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How many pages are in a volume?
Oh, a lot. There's like 200.
It's insane that like that exists, and I've never heard of it. When there's that many. You're not talking about something that's like 3 comic books or like 4,
right.
There's 8 volumes of this. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool. On top of that, new volume of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure came out, which is a manga I read.
Raven would be all over that.
Raven would be all over it. He's a big fan of JoJo. I would recommend it to Savage Dragon fans, if only for the over-the-top, crazy fucking action and the crazy freaking monsters and the violence. It's just this really. It's a multi-generational story where the current story arc is about the son of the previous story arc, who has grown up to be, a young man who is basically a troubled youth, not really a street tough, because he's actually from a affluent background, but he acts like a street tough, and he fights for justice, and he does it in a scrappy style.
Nick Justus.
Yeah.
Right.
And he fights vampires and otherworldly monsters, and it's just awesome.
I like how Nick was just like, right.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah. Speaking of manga.
Yeah.
That is another thing I've been reading lately. My fiance has been buying me the original pocket-size editions of Dark Horse's
Astro Boy?
Lone Wolf and Cub.
Oh,
Oh,
Wolf
cool.
and Cub. Okay.
I'm up to volume. They put out 28 volumes.
Yeah, there's a lot of it.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Do you just kind of like need a rest after a while though? Are you like,
If she would order 2 for me, I'd sit down and read them, and I'm up to 26.
so you don't get burnt out? Like just like, all right, I need a break. Like you could just keep going.
I don't suspect Lone Wolf and Cub is a very dense read.
No.
At times, but then there are stretches of pages where it's just lush,
Art.
scenery. Yeah, and I eat that stuff up. So
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. The only thing I've never read a Lone Wolf and Cub comic. I have the old like VHS like movie, like at least one of the movies. I don't know which one.
There was a movie?
Yeah.
Really?
the Shogun Assassin movie.
Yeah. Isn't that Lone Wolf and Cub or no? Am I?
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Yeah.
The
That
Ameri-
movie is badass.
Yeah.
So
Was
I
it
know
live
I-
action?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Oh, okay.
samurais like cutting heads and blood splurting like miles
Okay.
away from the body and
There are
baby.
seven.
What's that?
There are 7 Lone Wolf and Cub live action movies. I did
Oh.
not know that, and they were all from
When I-
the 70s.
Yeah, the baby carriage has like blades on the wheels and it just gets rolled down a hill and cuts people's legs off and shit. It's pretty intense. Pretty fun stuff, but I imagine the comics even cooler because of the shit you can do in comics that you can't
Yeah,
translate.
I have not read Lone Wolf and Cub. It's one of those books that I really should have read by now, but I just have not gotten to it.
It's funny. There's a lot of books like that. Like I get kind of annoyed. Like, oh, why don't you just try Savage Dragon? You know, you can jump on anywhere. But at the same time, I'm kind of a hypocrite because I'm like, oh, I don't want to jump into. There's too much. Like if I read Lone Wolf and Cub, now I'm committed. And I'm gonna want to buy all of the issues. Or
Right.
same thing with Usagi Yojimbo or anything
Yep.
like that. So I can understand sometimes when people like don't want to get into Dragon, they feel overwhelmed. But
Well, the thing with Usagi, at least, you could buy the latest issue and just keep up with the latest issues.
Yeah.
Because it is very accessible that way.
yeah.
Takes a lot of influence from Lone Wolf and Cub. In fact, I want to say there's an entire arc that was basically Usagi doing the Lone Wolf and Cub story.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Have you ever read Usagi Yojimbo?
The random issue here and there.
Yeah.
Same
Right.
here. Random here and there, but.
I'm behind. The main series didn't relaunch. It resumed recently, and I have not bought either of the 2 issues yet. I'm a bad fan.
Have you guys read any of the Copperhead series by Jay Farber?
Copperhead is without a doubt one of my top 3 favorite series right now.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I've never heard of the artist before, and I think he's friggin' awesome. Scott Godlewski or Godlewski.
Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't heard of him either.
Have you heard of that, Nick? Have you seen any of that?
I've seen it on the shelf. It's one of the few image books it is an image book, right?
Yes.
It's one of the few image books I think I'm not purchasing.
Yeah.
Ah,
It's I don't know what your tastes are. I mean, it's basically
sci-fi western.
sci-fi west. It's like Brave Star, but cool.
I like East of West, so
Yeah. You know, I
It's not
collected
quite. It's not that quite out there as East of West. It's much more of a
straightforward stuff.
frontier
Yeah.
sheriff type story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I like Low a lot. I've been picking up Low.
Yeah,
What's low?
The underwater book.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Remender.
Oh,
That's
it's
pretty good. I actually stopped after issue 5 just because of I just can't collect everything.
Right.
Yeah,
But I might go back and get like the trade or something. But I did enjoy that book.
and I'm all about some Southern bastards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Southern Bastards is terrific. The artwork, incredible. The story, like I don't know where it's going. You know, there's not like one single main character of the book. It seems like they kind of jump around from guy to guy.
I'm kind of my pull list has gotten a bit thin lately for a variety of reasons. I'm mostly just reading Autumn Lands and Egos and Invincible and Savage Dragon and Saga. Oh, and Tech Jacket.
I gave up on Tech Jacket.
Did you?
Yeah,
I'm stuck with it because I love Tech Jacket. I love the early Tech Jacket stuff.
I love the early Tech Jacket. This new one, I don't know. It was one of those things I was buying and wasn't reading it, so I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? I gotta stop.
It's definitely a really out there. It's become a really out there like sci-fi book now. It's
Yeah.
It's gotten a little bit away from its roots. It's no longer like a teen superhero book.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just I like it myself.
And I know a lot of people will probably kill me for this, and it's probably sacrilege to say, but I stopped collecting Saga.
Oh no,
I
it got
know,
good
I know.
again.
I know. I just, again, it was one of those books I was buying and I wasn't reading after a while. And I know most people be like, "What the fuck? You're retarded."
I just did
But-
that with Revival.
Oh, really? Yeah, I stopped the Revival like after issue like 8 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I just cut that out of my pull list. I was like, I can't keep up with everything that I've.
Well, that's the thing. There's so much good stuff coming from Image, and I made a decision kind of like a year or two ago of like, all right, I can't collect things just to collect it anymore.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. There was a time I bought as many Image books as I could, and then I bought every Image book I could, and I realized this wasn't the best idea.
you know what was happening too? I think Image has gotten better with being consistent.
Yeah.
And putting consistent books out, so now it's making it even harder. So back in the day, I could collect all these things because I knew like I might get 5 issues in a year of a book, so it would, there would
Because
be
everything
weeks
was
where,
elite.
yeah, there would be weeks where I would come back with like, I'd go to the comic book shop and there would be nothing there. But things now have been pretty consistent that I can't.
11 issues a year, pretty much everything.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like even like books like Black Science, which has been awesome. It's been coming out consistently. Deadly Class. A lot. Remender's awesome with keeping his books consistent.
I have had
low.
the hardest time getting into Remender's work.
Really?
I don't know what it is, but every time I start, I lose interest.
Mm-hmm.
It just isn't strong enough out the gate for me sometimes. Black Science, I read the first issue of. I thought, oh, this is pretty good. Then I never bought another issue of it.
No.
I don't know. It felt like just a more violent Sliders, I guess.
I had never read Sliders, but
Well,
I don't know.
Sliders, it's a TV show.
It's out there. It's good. I think I like it. I mean, just the fact that it comes out regularly makes me like it even more.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Did
But,
you guys pick up Chrononauts? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, I picked up the first issue.
Yeah,
It didn't blow me out of the water, so I just kind of I passed on the rest. But the artwork was pretty awesome. Is it worth
it's
getting
Sean
the rest
Murphy.
of it?
Sean Murphy is an amazing artist.
Yeah.
It's too bad I hate Mark Miller.
I like Mark Miller. I know that you either hate him or you love him for most people, but I think he does a good job picking out the best of the best artists too. Like,
I think that series just got optioned for a show possibly.
Well,
or
of course it did.
Yeah.
That's all he seems to do is make pitches for TV and movies.
something. Right.
what's his Jupiter's Children or whatever? Like that book was, I thought it was pretty cool, but it's like, if it's only going to come out once every 8 months, then I don't know.
Was
But
it
the
running
new-
that late? But wasn't what's his name drawing it? He usually teams up with Morrison.
Yeah, I know you're talking about from
Yeah.
X-Men.
Yeah, I shouldn't forget his
We're
name.
gonna get horrible fan mail for not knowing who this is.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
But yeah, did you read? And I can't remember the title of the book, but the take he did on Flash Gordon.
Another one I looked at, but I passed on because Mark.
Oh, I actually did get that, and I can't remember the name of it.
It should come up.
Starlight, Starfall, Starcraft.
Starlight, I think.
Starlight sounds right.
That was a fun book, but it just ended like so quickly. It's like he just. I don't know if it was like only 6 issues or something. It was
Yeah.
like, man, this needs to be fleshed out way more.
I got it for Goran Parlov, the artist.
Yeah, he's amazing. I've never seen his stuff before.
Yeah, he did a Punisher series and some Barracuda comics.
I'd like to see that. That'd be cool.
Just a lot of random things I've gotten from him over the years, and I was like,
He makes it look so easy. Like you look at it, it's like
I love his poofy smoke trails and things that he does.
Yeah,
he reminds me of like he's in like he kind of reminds me in some aspects of like Steve Rude on some things.
Yeah,
like
like
it
a
just is
Rude.
it's kind of clean but really cool looking.
Like a touch of Mobius.
Yeah.
Or stuff like that.
All
Especially
good,
that
man.
series.
If you're an artist and you have a touch of Mobius, then I'm all in.
No, I read the first issue of Starlight, and it was just such a slow burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could not get into it.
Yeah.
Because I love the Flash Gordon stuff. It's just I just knew he would drag it through the mud too much.
Yeah. One comic I wish would come back is James Stokoe's Orc Stain.
Is that on hiatus again?
Well, I mean, he hasn't put out an issue. I've seen he has art for the next issue, but he hasn't put out an issue in years now. It's like one of those creator comics that, he probably breaks even or whatnot, and it's just he's got other, Marvel comics or whatnot to do for like real money, so it just gets put on the back burner.
Kind of like last year, I flipped out when new issues of Shaolin Cowboy came out.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
And nonstop zombie fight, and I was like, this is so cool.
Really? Because, again, that was me. I tried to get into that because, the art is just so good. But literally the first 3 issues are just the same fight scene for 3 issues.
I know at least one issue was like one long fight scene, like splash after splash after splash.
The whole series was.
Was it?
No, I get that, but it lost its appeal after, like, issue 2.
Right.
Just doing the same thing every panel.
But it's like, I guess you gotta just look at it as it's an art book. It's a Jeff Darrow art book. It's just awesome to like just stare at his art, and that's what you're gonna take from it. It's not.
I pick up Rachel Rising every month.
Right.
Yeah, I hear good things about that, and it's something I've never tried.
Wait, is Rachel Rising still going?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, that's right. That's his latest. I'm thinking of the previous one. I thought it was on the chopping block to get canceled at like some point, or does it keep plugging away at it?
He keeps plugging away at it.
Because that's what's his name? Moore. Shoot.
I'm blanking out too. I can't think.
He did Strangers in Paradise, right?
Right, Terry Moore.
Terry Moore, that's it. That's another guy that I wish I read more of his work.
Any of you guys read the Sixth Gun comic?
Sixth Gun?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. Yes. Sounds familiar, though.
That's something I got into a while ago. I picked up the first 2 trades. It's pretty neat.
Me too. Yeah.
It's the same. It's like a Hellboy mixed with a Western type thing.
Yeah.
In a way.
It's from, you know who published it?
Oni Press.
Oni, okay.
That's enough. How many volumes of that are out in trade? There's got to be like 7 or so.
It's at least 7 or 8 by now.
The artwork is pretty damn good. It's consistent.
They have a little spin-off series too.
Do they?
Mini series by other artists that sort of draw in the same vein.
Who's the artist for Sixth Gun?
I can't
see. Cullen Bunn and Brian Hurt.
Brian Hurt.
Yeah.
Mike Norton drew a little mini series, and he draws Revival. And he's doing stuff as well. He's done some Marvel titles I've seen on the shelf.
All good stuff. So, shall we wrap it up, or?
Yeah, we can wrap it up. So yeah, we've already talked about next issue, so we'll have that to look forward to. Nick, do you think you're going to come back for our next episode? Be good to have you.
If you're sincere about it, I'll definitely come back.
All right. Maybe Raven will
definitely.
Maybe Raven will come back. We'll try doing this 4-man for once.
Oh man, yeah.
We're just gonna put you in a ring, 2 men in, 1 man out.
West Virginia versus Virginia. If that's where he's from, I don't know. I just like to say he's from West Virginia.
How do you say that? Just because his accent, or?
I could have sworn we had a conversation.
Yeah, maybe he did say. I don't know.
Or something. I don't know.
Was there a lot of rivalry between Virginia and West Virginia?
Yeah. Going back to the Civil War.
Yeah, West Virginia stayed with the Union, yeah?
Yes.
That's it. That's what happened.
So that's our whole beef, you know. That's why we fight, Raven.
All right.
Alrighty.
Yeah, Nick, it was great having you on. And, of course, Craig, it's always good to have you on. And, Jim, I'm here talking to myself.
And Raven, please come back and visit us.
With your tossing tones.
Alrighty, guys.
Yeah.
We'll see you.
Thanks for
See you.
listening.
See you next month.
Bye.
The Savage FINcast is a member of the Gutter Trash Podcast Network, which can be found at guttertrash.net. The Savage FINcast is part of the Comics Podcast Network, which can be found at comicspodcast.com. Also, find us on YouTube at youtube.com/user/SavageFINcast.